and you're listening to The Brown Perspective. I'm Eduardo, and I'm here con el tóxico RO.
Toxic. Hey, how you doing today?
Doing well, man. I know that this week everybody has been talking about Will Smith and Chris Rock. I know that so many issues like toxic masculinity, assault, violence, race, privilege, and then the fact that because of this happened, some of the great things that happened for people of color and actually LGBT, LGBT community, and also more importantly, Encanto winning the best animated feature, and also stealing the show both in English and Spanish. But nope, everybody's talking about
And
what
right,
happened.
being overshadowed by Will Smith slapping Chris Rock. It also overshadowed the award that Samuel L. Jackson received,
Hmm.
and also Will Smith's first Oscar, because no one's really talking about his first Oscar.
Yes.
And I
But what
think,
was your reaction? Because I know when I first saw it, I thought it was something that was a setup, right?
yeah, I thought it was staged as well. Then you see it a few more times and you start to wonder, well, it seems like genuine anger. Chris's reaction to it after Will Smith slaps him and he sits back down and he says, keep your my wife's name out of your mouth.
Hmm.
Chris Rock le dice, it was a GI Jane joke, like, telling him, like, come on, dude. And then that's when Will Smith says again, keep my wife's name out of your mouth. And Chris Rock, to his credit, he handled it like a pro. And you
Yes.
could tell he's had I'm sure he's had a lot of experience because he's a stand-up comedian. He Even
Hmm.
before he became a stand-up comedian, he probably, by the time he started getting popular, he had already spent most of his life dealing with people like this, because that's how a lot of these comics, that's their weapon to disarm people that may threaten them, that want to beat them up or bully them. They use humor. So
Hmm.
Chris Rock, I really liked how he handled it. I thought that it was disappointing that Will Smith will forever tarnish his image because of this. Because I'm a huge Will Smith fan. I grew up on the Fresh Prince of Bel Air. I grew up on
We grew up.
Independence Day. Well, we I don't know if you grew up watching it, but I grew up on that. So I've always really liked him as an actor, as a person. I always thought that he was like pretty level headed, and then this just threw a curveball, and I was like, man, what was this? And it's just going to forever tarnish his reputation. All the comedians are going to make fun of him, and yeah, it's unfortunate because it also casts a negative light on black people. The silver lining, or the flip side of that, is that Chris Rock is getting a lot of respect. He's getting a lot of appraisal from people for the way he handled it. Because I know that he wanted to rip at, because there's so much that you could joke about with Will Smith, and Chris Rock being one of the best at it. I'm sure that he could have just like thrown out a few jokes just to put him in his place, but he held back because he was like, I'm not gonna make it about us. The show, I'm gonna focus on the show. It's very professional, so he's getting a lot of credit for that, and I'm glad to hear that ticket sales are up for his whatever tour he's doing coming up. So it's a huge increase, like I think 25% increase. So good for him, at the expense of getting bitch slapped.
Well, yeah, but I think, and it's also unfortunate that, it was black on black violence, because I think that as Berenice King, Martin Luther King Jr. Daughter said, if somebody already thinks that has that conception of the black community, they're gonna think, they're gonna place this on the black community. I mean,
Yeah, but in this case, Will Smith is the aggressor. He's the one that is inviting all of the criticism against the black community. But Chris Rock is the one that's standing up now and holding up the black community in a positive light. So
yeah, but that's the thing. But if it would have been two white actors, and it would have been, white actor X, white actor C, I mean, would we be talking about, oh, they're standing up for the white community, they're standing up for the Australian community, so it's that thing. It's just two individuals, two men, two professionals who had an argument, and one didn't do it so well. Will Smith. At first, he laughed at the joke. Then he saw that his wife was not pleased. He walked up. He slapped another man. And instead of doing what I think he should have done, he should have just stayed in his seat and called out. If he would have said that, like, keep your, don't talk about my wife. If he would have said that, he would have made made his point clear. But then the fact that he had to go and physically assault him, that's where, things get complicated because it's a type of behavior that's not tolerated to get physical just because somebody says something that you're offended by.
Yeah, no, that's true. And what do you think of all the people that are defending Will Smith?
Well, I mean, it's been interesting to see how this has in many ways divided people on both camps, right? Everybody outlining everything that you said about Chris Rock, and then about Will. But I think, as we often said, I think the truth is more complicated, and the fact that I also wonder the fact that they, because they obviously as too few black men, as two of the few black men in Hollywood, they knew each other, they worked together. Obviously, they're part of the culture, right? So, in part, I wonder if it was because they felt so friendly that Will Smith felt that he could just walk up and slap him. Um, so it's sad that it happened.
Yeah, it's disappointing. I really do wish that it would have been staged and they would come out and say it was all a prank, but I guess we'll never know. I mean, it seems like it's real, but part of me still wishes that it wasn't. So I'll keep hopes up that there's a small chance that it was just staged. The one thing that's really interesting is that it kind of pits two camps of the liberal wing against each other. It puts the camp that doesn't like offensive comedy, right? The criticism against Dave Chappelle with the trans jokes. There's a lot of people that are saying that Chris Rock should not have been joking about alopecia,
Hmm.
and definitely should not have been joking about Will Smith's wife, especially with her being there. And then there's the other camp that thinks that you can resort to violence as long as it's for a good cause, because that's really what this is. The people that are defending Will Smith, he's entitled to do that because it's for a good cause. And interestingly enough, that aligns a lot with American foreign policy. We get to destroy, we get to invade, we get to do these things if it's for a good cause. And there's a lot of liberals that are cheerleaders of American militarism because they think it's for a good cause. So we condone violence when we think it's justifiable, which I'm not saying, well, I include myself in there, but I don't agree with that. But there's a camp of people that think that way, and that those are the ones that are defending Will Smith. And now it kind of split the liberal wing into two in this case: the ones that don't like offensive comedy and the ones that think that the reaction is physical violence is okay because it's justified. And in this case, the offensive jokes against a female justified these actions.
Well, the offensive comedy is not the same thing as offensive speech, but more importantly, offensive action, right? So I think that as it relates to foreign policy, right? So, and I know
No, but
this is,
I'm saying that violence is justified as long as the ends justify the means. There's
well,
people that
yeah, I mean, but that's the thing, right? So that's why I think so many liberals say, the U.S. should be doing something about X part of the country where they're killing this population, and then and then and so then if the US goes there, well, they're not supposed to be there, even though there's people who think that, oh well, we're there because we want to save the Afghan people.
Yeah,
yet
spreading
get women.
democracy. So we're gonna kill a ton of people, a lot of collateral damage, a lot of like poor kids being orphaned, because we think it's important to spread democracy. So we've justified violence because we think it's a more important thing to achieve at the expense of other people. So no different here. That's I see that parallel with this
Okay.
here.
Definitely bringing. I don't think I saw this conversation on Twitter this week
Which conversation?
about the parallels between this incident and American foreign
Well,
policy.
well, I was thinking about the people that are defending Will Smith, where in certain cases it's okay as long as the individual that um, where violence is condoned, as long as it's like for a reason that is justifiable.
Yeah, and I think in this case it was also protecting his wife, right?
Yeah,
I
exactly.
know.
So they'll do all those things. Look, what Chris did, the joke is offensive, but he's a comedian. He's supposed to be able to have freedom of speech. So even if it's offensive and it's hurtful, yeah, sure it is. And Will Smith has every right to be upset. So does Jada. But it doesn't mean that he's justified in walking on stage and slapping him, because
Hmm.
physical violence is different. You don't. The Constitution doesn't say we protect freedom of physical violence against your neighbor, but if he says something that you don't like, freedom of speech is protected, not freedom of physical violence.
Yeah, and that's where you can press assault charges,
Which he's not, by
which
the way, because I
exactly.
think again that's also I think more with the black community, like the snitching culture or not snitching.
Well, it's also because it's his friend, right? Again, and I'm not saying that they were the best of friends, but they have a history. And it's funny because one of the memes that I saw was Jada as as Paper. You had Chris Rock in the middle, and then Will Smith as the Scissor. Um,
Oh
so
yeah, I
in
saw
any
that
case,
one. Yeah.
yeah. So I think that part of it too is
Wait, what?
like,
Sorry, was that the one they? What is it? Rock, paper beats rock.
yeah. So I think yeah. So I think the Scissors was Jada now actually, and Will Smith was the Paper, and then Rock. So I don't know if maybe according to this, according to my interpretation, it seems like this is a person that's a fan of Will Smith because Paper beats Rock. But
Yeah.
but the point was to say that he's a friend. So that's like if you and I had got in an argument at a party and you hit me or I hit you. I mean, am I gonna press charges against you even if I'm pissed off at you? Probably not because I realized that you know what that was uh he's going through some issues, right? So I know that Will Smith recently did a book. I know that the other thing that people were taunting him about was the entanglements that Jada has had. So like I guess some of the cheating
Yeah. Yeah.
that
Just
she's
marital
had, and I,
problems.
I
Yeah.
know that he's also has had his. Well, I guess they have an open relationship. That's the last thing I heard,
But
but so he's someone who's carrying with a lot. So I guess in the justifying camp, it's like, well, he was dealing with a lot, and maybe it was just his frustration that got the better of him the same night where he reached the pinnacle of his acting career. Because I always wonder why hasn't Will Smith won an Oscar yet?
hmm
Like he's such a great actor, and he's also portrayed some of the great um,
yeah,
African leaders, or at least Muhammad Ali and some. And he's
yeah.
been a positive. He's also been like one of the first actors, black actors that was doing roles that were that were cool, right? Like Independence Day, like he was the
And
lead black man
yeah.
of a great movie.
And by the way, I think that would have been a great Chris Rock comeback if he would have said, "Hey, Will, you're nominated for playing Serena and Venus's father, not Ali. That was a long time ago."
There you go.
But
And that's the other thing. I also think that maybe because if you saw the film Richard, I think Richard also dealt with a lot of those things that black men, particularly of Richard's age, dealt with,
yeah,
that
probably
violence against him, right? And
getting
the
into
fact that
that.
this week, after 200 tries and 100 and something years,
Yeah.
is the law of the anti-lynching law just passed and was signed into law.
Well, yeah, getting into that role may have influenced him. All of the criticism, all of the everything that he's had to deal with because of his marriage. Yeah, sure, he's under a lot of stress and pressure, but none of that justifies him getting violent like that. And so, what do you make of the academy not immediately escorting him out? Because that's assault. So that's where I'm saying that it seems like
Well,
the people
what
that
came out
mattered
today?
excused it. No, but she I mean, that was assault, right? So he should have been escorted out immediately in handcuffs.
Well, what happened? What happened was that actually the academy did ask him to leave, and he refused.
Right, but I mean, come
And
on. But can't you just like
well,
send the cops in to get him?
yeah, I mean, but you really you wanna get the cops to arrest the black man who's been nominated
It's
for the best
assault.
Academy
So
Award.
why does he get a pass then, right? Like
Yeah,
that
I
that's a
mean,
double standard. Well, and did they arrest him afterwards? Immediately afterwards? Did they
no,
have the
no,
cops waiting for him?
there were no charges pressed.
But come on, that's assault on live television. Unprovoked. Well, I mean, it's really unprovoked assault. Does Chris need to press charges for him to be detained while they sort this out?
I
I'm not.
think legally, yes. I think if it were a and I don't know what the academy rules are, but if it
No,
were
but
a workplace, certainly.
I don't know though because okay, so how do you know that okay, so he already attacked him once. How do you know he's not going to do it again? So don't you remove him from the premise to at least secure Chris Rock, and then afterwards you can deal with the legal matters of whether or not he's going to press charges. But at a minimum, you do something about Will Smith to ensure Chris Rock's safety, right? Look, I'm not
Dude,
saying I'm not really arguing for one or the other. I'm just saying that this seems to me like he got a pass and his actions because he was applauded when he won the Oscar. I don't know if he was being applauded because of the Oscar or because of what he did, but it seems like people generally gave him a pass, and a lot of people felt like, well, he slapped him, but yeah, maybe Chris Rock had it coming, so we're not really gonna do anything about it.
it's funny because to me, you just kind of outlined the nightclub policy of when you get into a fight. If two guys get into a fight, one of them gets kicked out, or the guy who started it, or you kick one out, and or you kick both. But that's what it sounded like to me when you like. And I don't know if the club pressed charges against those people who started fights at the club. I don't think they unless they got pretty bad. There was a stabbing or a shooting or something like that. But usually it's like, okay, these people fought, separate them,
Yeah.
get at least one of them out, and then let everybody continue to have fun.
Right.
Hey,
Yeah.
DJ, play
Just
the Daddy Yankee.
contain the situation.
Dale, dale gasolina.
Yeah, but at least Chris Rock comes out on top after the initial sting of the embarrassment, because it is embarrassing to get slapped like that in public. But I think once I'm sure by now that it's been a few days. I'm sure he's realizing like he's coming out looking pretty good, pretty mature.
Yeah,
Cause and Will Smith, I'm sure, is regretting this left and right. It's gonna take him a while to get over this.
yeah, I,
So
I do. I do look forward to Chris Rock processing this through his comedy because
yeah,
I'm sure he's
yeah.
he's thinking about it. I mean, I can already kind of hear him say his skit about this, right? Oh, and I saw him walked up, and I was like, what's he gonna do?
Yeah,
Uh,
exactly. Oh, he's gonna.
so
I
yeah,
hope he lets him have it in his stand-up comedy specials. It'll be great to see it because I
and in
haven't
some in
really.
some way he kind of earned the right, the way that he was a better man in this occasion. So right, so now he gets to talk about it and also give his side of the story. But is he gonna go Residente or J Baldwin, or is he gonna be like calm? Time should tell.
Yeah, yeah,
I also look forward to hearing from Will Smith. I know the apology he issued a day after the incident seemed pretty authentic, and I know he shared during his speech. I mean, his speech was a beautiful speech too, in the way he talked about his work, the opportunity to tell the Williams family story, But he also shared what Denzel Washington told him. I don't know if it was right after the fight or I don't know the occasion, but it's telling him that, just when you get to the top is when the devil gets you, right? So there's
Yeah.
it's almost like a Greek tragedy, right? In some ways, it is a tragedy. And I think Will Smith, the fact that he's bounced back from so many things, I think he'll bounce back out of this a better person. But I think that just realizing that, right, the same night when before, right, before you get that award, you go through this moment that could change his life because we still don't know how the Academy is going to respond or how fans are going to respond. And then at the same time, you get recognized for a lifetime of entertainment and being an artist and telling some amazing stories. So
Here's a just something to think about as we wrap this up. So let's say it had been two white men, and the joke was about conservatives and Donald Trump, and a Donald Trump supporter got up there and slapped the comedian. Do you think the repercussions would have been more severe
well,
for that
first of all, there's
individual?
no Trump supporters in Hollywood,
Well, let's
so
just say there
that's
was
not
one
a
in there.
nice plan.
Let's say it
No,
was Mel Gibson, or there's a few conservative ones.
yeah, I know there
Tim
are, of
Allen,
course.
perhaps.
Yeah, I mean that would have been interesting, and then that would get colored through the political lens. And I
Yeah,
think,
because they would have. I mean, they would have linked it to Donald Trump encouraging violence against others. I'm sure that actor would probably, if it was an actor, it probably would have that actor would probably get blacklisted. I mean, there's a good chance,
what
don't you
about it
think?
would have been a Democratic actor slapping a Republican actor?
Yeah, well,
How
I'm
would the
saying
reaction
that
be then?
you swap out the individuals, the circumstances, and the political ideology, and all of a sudden you get inconsistent reactions from people. It shouldn't be like that, but unfortunately it is. That's why I just wanted to throw that out there before we wrap up.
Well, yes, good point. But we're reacting to the situation before us. So once the other situation comes up, which I guess you can say it came up in January 6th, when, a group of people decided to slap our Constitution and our the police officers, the Capitol Police and Washington D.C. Police, and try to also get some of our leaders, right? So I mean, is that that has happened, and I think it's happened in a worrying degree. So to your point, it was a physical assault that happened on the Capitol, that happened at the Academy, and I think it's just a reflection of what's in the air, right? I think there's a lot of tension,
Hmm.
and obviously there's an actual war happening now, and I think the the tempers are definitely feel at a high level. There's a lot of tension.
And you can always count on people and ourselves being completely inconsistent when it comes to being upset or calling for people to get canceled, depending on the circumstances. So we'll keep an eye on that. That's why we're here, because we want to analyze these things and point out all of the hypocrisy and inconsistencies with things. So
My brother, I'm consistent in my inconsistency.
exactly. All right, let's wrap this up. For you all out there, if you enjoy our content, make sure to check us out. We are Brown Perspective. Estamos on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Nos vemos.
Ciao.